Madonna, Hanna. Wow. The energy from this woman is exciting. I really loved talking to Madonna. You're going to really enjoy this. Um, Anti-bullying. She was bullied as a child. She's an African American woman from the Northeast. She was subject to a certain uh, bullying and racism, of course, and how she actually says it made her better. It thickened her skin. Of course, it was terrible to go through, and she doesn't recommend it. In fact, she in her class she became a teacher in the fashion industry, and she has anti-bullying campaigns now. But incredible energy. We talk a lot about that. We talk about the bullying and what happened and how to help others who are getting bullied, and even how to help those who are bullying. Hurt people hurt people. But at age 57, she decides to do something that's absolutely incredible. She decides to become a sprinter. She enters into the Olympics, the over 50, the state of Washington. She moved to Washington. She becomes a widow, and her deceased husband has certain wishes for her and how she handles it. It's truly inspiring. And wait till you hear the Costco story. That's all I'm going to say about that. Madonna Hanna, absolute thrill talking to her. I loved it. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business? And it lasted over 25 years. Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. Madonna, Hanna, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. How did bullying there in Boston, how did it help you?
Thank you so much for asking that, because that's kind of a odd question to
Yeah.
ask someone. And as I got to a certain point in my life, I was able to look back and realize that, thank goodness I was bullied.
Right.
Because I was bullied, I grew a thick skin. So when certain situations came up, especially since I was worked in retail management in downtown Boston, in Jordan Marsh, which is one of the largest department stores in New England at the time, because like everything else is like Macy's now. But being an African American executive in a downtown store where there was some racial
Yes.
tension anyway in Boston, and in the 70s, and maybe a
70s.
little bit more now too. It was very interesting. I can remember having a customer
Mm.
who came to my department. She had a situation, went to my salesperson with it, and the salesperson said, "Well, let me get the manager." Here I came. And the customer, a white lady, she looked me up and down and she said, "I want a real manager."
Wow.
My sales lady, a seasoned sales lady, She didn't understand the real part. She said, "This is the manager." But I understood what the customer, I
Wow.
understood only too well. And I said, "Okay, oh, I'll get you a real manager." What I could have done, Joe, was to call for a manager across the floor who knew my merchandise, because I was in charge of the tween department, the early teen department, and women's lingerie. And across the floor was the big junior department. I could have called that manager over, but I didn't. What I did instead, I called the assistant manager from the hardware from the hardware department. I very sweetly said, "Miss So and so, there's a customer here who would like to speak with you." She said, "Oh, okay, Miss Beauclair. Oh, okay." Here she comes, and the customer's all happy and stuff, Joe, because she's got a white manager. And the young lady says, "Yes," and Miss So and so, this customer would like to speak with you. I mean, all professional, everything. And the customer's happy. Oh, this, and that, and that. And the assistant manager from the hardware department said, "Ma'am, I would really like to help you, but I don't know anything about this merchandise. Miss Beauclair can assist you." Joe, don't you know that that customer just got so upset? She walked away. She
Wow.
did not want me to handle her situation with the merchandise from my department. She walked away, and as she was walking away, I said, "Thank you very much for coming into Jordan Marsh today. Perhaps we will be better able to assist you the next time." I was just, yeah. And, she stiffened up as she walked out of the department. And I walked into my office and I was so angry.
Mm.
And what I used to do, I used to cry for 5 seconds,
Mm.
just for 5 seconds, because I had to get rid of that. I just had to get rid of that uh, anger and frustration,
Mm.
but for 5 seconds. And then I would pull myself together, breathe, and go back out to the floor, or go do whatever I happen to be doing. And if I had not been bullied, I would not have had the presence of mind to say, "Oh, I'm going to get you, manager." All right, because you have to have, you've got to have that something in you that seizes this moment to say, "Oh, I'm going to get you what you want." you know
Mm.
but yes, but on my terms. And to also be professional, because I could not call that customer out and say that she was racist. She never called me a name. She never called me a name, but I knew what she meant by, "I want a real manager." uh, there was one other situation that was worse than that. The buyer at the time for that department was not happy that I was her manager. She was a woman who, even before I took charge of her department, was known for being a bully. She would not bully the older sales ladies who'd been there since the Depression. They were like 14 and they lied about their age because their parents wanted them to have a job. But it would, but she would be very mean to the younger salespeople. And then when I came in, oh my goodness, she'd always have something to say to me. I took it in stride. And one day she came to visit her department. There were two white female customers that had taken a blouse off the rack, unbuttoned it, put it back on the hanger, and the blouse slid off the hanger onto the floor. Well, the buyer starts yelling at me. Why is my $23 bus on the floor, whatever? And I'm like, what is wrong with this woman? She saw it fall, Joe. She saw it fall. Then she goes off on me. She called me the N word, the black
What?
N word. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She
In
did.
front of others?
Yes, we were on the fourth floor. She just went, I don't know why they hired the blah, 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 blah. And I took a deep breath and I
Wow.
walked off the floor toward the office of my boss, who was the manager for the entire children's division. Okay, corporately, just and I walked over to her, and as I was walking over, the buyer was saying, "She's leaving my department. She's walking away from my department. That black." And as I was walking across the floor to my boss, the buyer went down the escalator, and every floor was going like, "What is she ranting about?" She went down 4 floors, out across the street to where the buyer's office were, but where her buying office was, which was on the 8th floor. So everybody from the 4th floor in the department store across the street and up 8 floors talking about me. And I said to my boss, either you transfer me to another department or I quit. And she was on the phone at the time. I didn't care. I didn't yell. I was very, very composed, Joe. And
Mm.
I said, this is how it is. And she said, yeah, I'll get back to you. What happened? And I will commend the management, the top management at Jordan Marsh. Things were settled quite quickly.
Really?
Well, yes. Well, first of all, the buyer had made a spectacle of herself. There were plenty of witnesses to what she said
Right.
because she ranted down 4 floors and then up 8 floors because I was starting to get phone calls. What the heck did you do? What the heck? What's going on? Because this is hot stuff, Joe. This is hot stuff. And I didn't talk to anybody. Yeah, I didn't talk to anybody. Anyway, in about an hour, my boss called me over and she said that, Madonna, you are going to stay in that department. The buyer will need to call you to ask your permission to come over to the department.
Hmm.
And I smiled, Joe. And my boss said, Madonna, take that smile off your face. That woman is going to be gunning for you. So you make sure that you do absolutely everything that you're supposed to do, that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, because she's going to be gunning for you. She's being reprimanded because our top executives, because she did not demonstrate the demeanor that the top executive should have at a major department store like that. And they did not approve of her behavior. And also, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I hadn't done anything drastically wrong because I would have been written up for it and whatever. You know what I mean? But the moral of the story is eventually she and I were able to get along. One day she came over and she said, Madonna, the department has been looking good. I appreciate everything that you've done. And I've said, this woman is talking like a regular human.
Mm.
And she said, did the management tell you that? And I said, no. She goes, oh, fine. If I'd called you a name or whatever, and we both laughed about that. But we were able to get along after that.
Hmm.
She was human, and maybe she had never been really confronted as a bully, because they all knew she was a bully.
Hmm.
But he was pulling in the fourth largest volume in the entire corporation. She's bringing the money in. And it
Wow.
was like, well, we know she's, but no, how I confronted her was to just be able to walk away, because I'm not getting into an argument with her on the floor. She outranks me. And if I had not been used to being bullied because of the color of my skin, I don't believe I would have had that composure and state of mind to say, take a deep breath, walk away, walk to your boss, let her know what is going on, and let her take care of it, because I'm not putting up with this another day. Mm-mm.
Mm.
This is uncalled for. But I'm not discussing it with the buyer, because she's all out of her mind and crazy and stuff. But no, let the management take care of it, and they did.
Wow. Often, when I think of bullying, I kind of think of youth, and I never think of kind of a racial element or angle to it. But I guess it should be broadened to encompass that as well.
Well, of in my case,
Yeah.
sure. I was I attended school in an all white conservative
Right.
town, south of Boston. And when you're the only one that looks like you in the classroom,
Right.
and you thank goodness not all 30 to 40 kids, because at that time there were like 30 to 40 kids in a classroom. Thank goodness not all of them were cruel and mean to me, just
Mm.
four. And I remember their first and last names. God
Wow.
love them. I have forgiven. I have forgiven them, and I thank them. Now I can thank them for the experience. But when you have to constantly go through the name calling and just just kids being mean. And there were some kids who wanted to be my friend, but when you're called an in lover, when you're in the
Mm.
fourth or fifth grade, then it's hard. It was hard for those children, and they can be forgiven for that. For like, yeah, I want to be your friend, but I don't like being called names, and
Mm.
that's how it is. And even in junior high school, there was a situation in gym class where uh, after class was over, we're back in the locker room. My locker was open, my wallet was gone, and
Uh,
I'm searching for it.
hmm.
Two of my white classmates came over to me and threw my wallet at me, called me the N word, and shoved me into my locker. I weighed all of 99 pounds. And when they shoved me into the locker scratched me up and I was bleeding. I went to the gym teacher, shaking, crying. I told her what happened. And Joe, she looked at me and she said, now, Madonna, those are nice girls and they wouldn't do anything like that. I'm shaking, I'm crying, I'm bleeding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I went back to my locker. The girls were like, they weren't calling me the N word anymore. They were calling me a tattletale.
Right.
Happened.
And while it made you stronger, it certainly hurt. The experiences hurt, and you don't recommend it today. In fact, you make a point of saying don't let your classroom be hijacked by bullies.
Exactly. 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 I had no idea that I was going to become a fashion marketing
Mm.
educator. Uh, my husband and I moved from Massachusetts to the state of Washington. Less snow, less snow to shovel.
Yes.
You know how that goes.
Yes.
And I wanted to get a job in retailing, and I noticed that, ooh, retailing is different on the West Coast than it is in Boston and New York. And but anyway, there was an opportunity. for uh, some vocational programs that needed a fashion marketing teacher. And in the state of Washington, all I needed was a minimum of 5 years experience in the field, because in vocational education, you have to know how to fix the experience, know how to fix the car, do plumbing and all that sort of thing. And then you take various teaching classes as part of your certification. So anyway, I thought, why don't I teach, and then I will be able to give the industry that I love, people um, who will be ready day one. And one of my expectations as an educator, because I had been bullied, I let my students know nobody's going to be bullied in my
Mm.
classroom. I would say, I was bullied. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. It's not happening in here. It's not. And of course, you get tested. Of course, you get tested. And when the students found out that it wasn't going to fly, it was okay.
Hmm.
It's not gonna fly. And once they realize that, Joe, it makes all the difference in the world in a classroom when you do not let that bully hijack the classroom. Students feel more comfortable. You can get more classwork done because students don't feel intimidated by anyone. It's a whole different atmosphere. It is, and I just think that, well, first of all, it's unfortunate that bullying is still in style. It is.
Mm.
Um, but I think that if the person in charge puts their foot down and says, it's not going to happen, uh, we're going to be civil in here, and I wrote that on the board, civility counts. I let the students know that, first of all, I don't care who you don't like. I don't care. Because as you go out into the work world and you go out into life, experience life, not everybody's going to like you. They're not. And you're not going to like everybody. But the thing is, you must learn to listen and respect people. Look for something to like. Look for something to like. Look for ways to get along.
Mm.
And I did a lot of activities, human relation activities, and we had a lot of discussions. And I also did activities so that the students could find out what they had in common. And if there were any situations at all, I took care of it
Mm.
immediately, so that the students knew that if something happened, that I would take care of it immediately. And part of that is comes from my training as an executive, because when you're on the floor dealing with the public, there's lots of stuff that happens that you need to take care of
Mm.
immediately, because that is your job as an executive. Whether it's a situation with your salespeople, a customer, or the merchandise, or dealing with other people on staff, you need to take care of things immediately, so that you can move on to the goal of whatever the goal is. Of course, in business, it's making money. But in the classroom, the goal is that everybody has an opportunity to learn. And I would tell my students, like, you're not cheating anybody out of an opportunity to learn. This is an elective class. Don't need you in here.
Mm. Madonna, what should we do if we know somebody or a friend who's getting bullied? And what if they are bullying somebody? What do we do in those cases?
Joe, it really depends on the dynamics of what is going on, whether it is at school and at work,
Mm.
and the individual who's in charge. In
Hmm.
my case, with me being bullied, knowing what it looks like and how insidious it is, and being aware of kids who bully, and like, oh, I was just kidding around. I was just
Right.
kidding around, and being able to look them dead in the eye, like a teenage kid or a elementary, middle school kid, look them dead in the eye and say, you weren't kidding. You
Mm.
meant to say what you did. You didn't mean for me to hear it, but you meant it. You look them dead in the eye and say that, and don't let them get away with, I was just joking around. I was just kidding. No, you weren't.
Mm.
That changes the dynamics, especially to that bully that's used to, oh, I was just joking around. The response might be, well, don't joke like that.
Mm.
Yeah. But okay, so like I said, it depends on the personality of the person who is in charge. Okay. And to also be able to have discussions about bullying, like, why do people bully? Why? Why do you bully someone? I've had discussions like that with my students.
Mm.
Who's been bullied? Okay. Uh, who has bullied somebody in the past? See, who has bullied somebody in the past? Not who the bully is now.
Mm.
Why did you do that? And then you begin to get discussions about, well, I used to be a nice person and I was bullied and then I became a bully. Okay,
Mm.
there you go. Oh, okay, all right. And then in most cases with kids, that's how it happens. Or they just got tired of being picked on,
Mm.
and then they just started picking on people because it just made them feel better, and they were more in control, even though they knew it was wrong and they got into trouble for it. Okay. um, but I'm going to say, for to parents and kids, I think parents should ask their kids about the dynamics of what's going on in their classroom, like who are the popular kids and why are they popular?
Mm.
Okay. Um, how are things handled? Like, if somebody bullies somebody, how does the teacher handle it? How does the class handle it? And I think that parents should also, during school orientation, I think the parents need to just ask, if my child is bullied, how is this situation going to be handled in the classroom? Ask the classroom teacher that. I don't care what grade it is. Ask the English, if it's high school, you ask the English teacher, you ask the math teacher, you ask each teacher, how do you handle this situation in your classroom? And they should be able to give you an answer. If they don't, well, then you need to have them address it in some way. Find out what the school policy is. It's online. It is in all districts. It's online. Uh, Even though policies are online, they're not always followed
Mm.
because teachers have different personalities, building administrators have different personalities. But parents need to one, find out what the district policy is, and also how teachers handle bullying situations within the classroom, and to also ask their children, if you are bullied, tell us about it, and how did you handle it? If you see someone else who is bullied, what happened? How did you feel about that? How was it handled? You need, parents need to talk to their they need to talk to their kids about it.
Especially these days, Madonna, where we see some of these children have been bullied and the horrible things that can come from it. Do you agree that hurt people hurt people?
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. Oh, most definitely. Oh, yes. It's especially the students that I've asked, like, why are you bullying?
Mm,
Because they were hurt.
right.
And when you're hurt and you think nobody cares, you strike out because that's the only way you can make yourself feel better, feel in control by hurting people, being mean to people. And then if you can, I call them satellites. If you can get some other kids to help you take revenge on people and be mean to people, it just sort of makes you feel better inside that you have, because bullies need to control, and bullies also need those satellites around them, those people that they're controlling, to make them feel better,
Mm,
because possibly when they go home they are bullied by an older brother, sister, or relative, and they've lost that control. But the only way, they feel like they can get control is to be mean, because they do have that hurt. Something I have mentioned to kids of all ages: stop going online. Stop
mm.
going on. Well, so and so said these mean things about me online. Then why are you online? Why are you logging in to listen to people say mean things about you? They don't even know you, and you're taking it to heart. And unfortunately, there's so many young people who are committing suicide. And it's like, don't go online. Don't do it. Don't.
Cyberbullying is just as damaging as physical bullying, correct?
It it
Or
it
can be.
it is, but why go online and put yourself through that? This is what I say to kids. Why are you going online to read these horrible things? Go do your homework. Go volunteer and help somebody. Play a sport after school. Why are you subjecting yourself to do that? Like, hey, here I am, come bully me. And I know people might say, well, Madonna, don't say that. No, but it's common sense. Don't don't go online. Come on,
You know,
Joe.
and I agree. I agree. And sports is an incredible outlet in which, at age 57, which you say is 10 years ago, which I can't believe, you decide to become an amateur sprinter.
Yes.
I
Well,
watched the videos of you sprinting, and you become a widow, condolences, and you donate, you dedicate this one particular race to because your husband said, wear red, white, and blue, I believe it was, and you did it, and it gives me chills, Madonna.
well, Joe, first of all, I like that segue. The sport transit. I like that segue. Speaking of bullying in sports, I just had to say that, Joe. Smooth. That was smooth. I appreciate that. Gets us to me racing. Yes, at the age of 57, I had absolutely no uh, track and field experience at all. Our high school
Yeah.
did not have a girls' track team. And as a child, I like watching the Olympics, especially the Summer Olympics, sprinting, going out in the backyard, playing 100-meter dash, getting a medal for the United States and stuff. But, life happens. But Joe, I'll tell you, I was planning the spring fashion show, and I just had this overwhelming feeling. The universe, God, whoever, said run 100 meters. I'm like,
Wow.
what? What? I mean, like, what? Where's this coming from? And Joe, it was such an overwhelming, heavy feeling that I couldn't shake. I
Wow.
couldn't shake it.
Wow.
I think that happens to people sometimes in life where where's this coming from? And you just can't shake it. It's like build an build an ark, Yeah. But anyway, It's going to be raining soon, but you'll need it. But but my husband had track and field experience, and I said to him, "I want 100 meters." I didn't tell him about the voice thing and everything like that. I just
Sure.
said, "I want to run 100 meters," and he said, "Well, sure. Um, I'll coach you, but you got to do what I say." It's like, "Oh, okay, we're married, fine, sure." And you know, he loaded me up with a backpack with 5 pounds of bricks and
Wow.
ankle weights, yeah, 3 to 5 pound ankle weights.
Yeah.
I ran uphill, downhill, jogged, walked. And in 2011, I was entered into the Washington State Senior Games in the 50 and the 100-meter events. And I said to myself, all I have to do is run in a straight line as fast as I can. Well, Joe, I won. I
I
won a
saw it.
gold medal in the 50 and the 100. And everybody was like, yay, you should try out again next year and you could go to nationals. I'm like, nationals? Come on. I felt like Forrest Gump, like, run, Madonna, run, like, what? What? You want me to, what? Joe, I was thinking that nationals, it just seemed like something so far away and
Yeah.
something like me? Come on. So, anyway, um, I made it to nationals in 2023, Cleveland, the National Senior Games, which is the largest sporting event in the world for people
Wow.
who are 50 to 100 plus, and there are 20 to 30 different types of sports. It was the most incredible experience to see uh, people who are like 70, 80, 90 to 100 years old playing basketball and just the various sports. And yes, and I came in ninth in the 100 meters, and I was happy about that, like my first time out. Hey! I didn't make it into the finals, but I did wind up on a relay team, a 4x100 relay team. They needed a fourth. Joe, I absolutely did not know what to do, but I volunteered because I can run fast in a straight line. And I signed up, arrived 15 minutes before. I didn't know what to do. And the other three ladies were like world class athletes. And they said, what leg do you want to run? And I,
Right.
I said, leg? And I said, I've never done this before, but I can run fast in a straight line. And
Ah.
they were like shocked, you know. And so one lady, she was really nice to me. She was a track coach out of Georgia. She said, "Follow me." And in 12 minutes, she showed me what I had to do in 12 minutes. How to
To pass
hold
the baton. Yeah.
yeah, but Joe, you just can't pass that baton
Right.
anywhere, and you
Right.
and you have to be close to the line, and you got to hold
Yeah.
it in this hand because you got to
Yeah.
pass it to this hand, and so okay, 12 minutes flew by, and it's time to start. And I'm the first leg, and I was going to be handing off to the woman who taught me. She was the second leg. Joe, the first leg is a curve. I
Right.
don't run curves. I run in.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to run in a curve and not step on the line and get everybody disqualified. But anyway, I did it. I did it. And we came in third. We came in
Wow.
third. And what was so remarkable was that the first place team had broken a world record.
Wow.
So here we are, we're getting the medals because, of course, the bronze people get their medal first and the
Right.
silver. And then the
Gold.
first place team, yeah, the gold people step up. One of the ladies looked at me and then she, got everybody in the huddle and she said, she starts chanting, "Good job, Madonna. Good job, Madonna. Good job,
Ah.
Madonna." And I'm like, what? It's sinking in that, oh, goodness. Somebody must have told the other teams that there's this woman who has never done this before, and we've got to, in 12 minutes or less, we've got to show her what to do. So
Oh,
I figured,
nice.
I figured that must have got around Joe, and then everybody in the stadium starts chanting, "Good job,
What?
Madonna. Good job, Madonna. And my husband is stunned, and there's a man next to him jabbing him in his wrist. Say, "Good job, Madonna." And my husband, what? But isn't that absolutely incredible? That
Wonderful.
that was the 2013, and then 2014 I was racing again, ruptured my Achilles,
Mm.
severely ruptured my Achilles. I was racing, I heard this loud sound. I thought it was the starter pistol going off again, but it was my Achilles rupturing, and yeah, that was fun. I had surgery, and of course, the surgeon said, "At your age, and because of
Mm.
the injury, you won't be sprinting again." But as we know, I am sprinting. I am still sprinting, and in 2017, got back in the game, won gold again, and that was also my husband's first bout with cancer.
Mm.
And then in 2018, he began the year with another bout of cancer. And then by November of 2018, that was his third and last battle with cancer. And we were getting ready to go to the National Senior Games in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2019, which he knew he wasn't going to be able to make that. And he said, as you said in the introduction, um, he wanted me to keep racing and wear red, white, and blue. And that's exactly what I did. And along the way, I needed a new coach just to kind of
Mm.
tweak me and help me so that I could, do the best that I could participating in the games, to complete what my husband and I had started. My coach is now an Olympic hopeful.
Wow.
A millennial. Joe, when I retired from teaching, I was
A
teaching
millennial.
millennials. Now I've got a millennial for a coach. And Marcus Chambers became my coach in February of 2019. So we're going on 4 years together. And it was just going to be a one and done kind of thing. But I will say to you and your listeners, my husband, Coach Hanna, set the foundation, a really good foundation, which we're able to pass the baton to Coach Chambers, who is step by step building on that foundation that my husband started. Uh, with my husband, I won 13 state medals and one bronze, the national
Oh.
bronze. The short time with Marcus, who was teaching me mechanics. There is no old school stuff with backpacks and brakes. Oh my gosh, it's all these reps. I thought I was like, what have I gotten myself into? And so far, with Marcus, I have I've won 6 state medals, 1 national silver, and a 7th place uh, final ribbon. And my times, okay, I competed last year in the 2022 National Senior Games in Fort Lauderdale in May.
Mm.
And my times were so fast, faster than when I had ruptured my Achilles. So if you can imagine me getting older and
Wow.
faster, and it is Marcus's expertise because he is a professional,
Mm.
and my desire to want to excel. So, I would like to say to your listeners that absolutely anything is possible. You are never, ever, ever too old to at least try something new. I had no idea that at my age, or this time in my life, that I would, for my age group, be ranked in, the top 10 or top 7 in the nation
Wow. Wow.
in sprinting. Yes, yes, and I am still learning, and I'm going to get faster, and my coach and I have goals, and this is, like I said, this is not something that I plan to do in my old age. I,
Absolutely incredible, inspiring. So on the podcast, Madonna, we talk about discipline. I gained. I was up to 340 pounds. I started my business in '93. I wasn't paying attention. I was working too hard. All of a sudden, I found myself at that weight. The doctor said to me, "You're not going to see your daughter graduate. You're pre-hypertensive. You're pre-diabetic. You've got to do something about it." So I turned everything around, and within a year and a half, I lost 130 pounds. People always ask me, "How did I do it?"
uh-huh.
And like there's some secret. And I said, just discipline, right? I got focused and I got discipline, and that's it. That's how I did it. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on your weight loss and your discipline to do it and the tack that the doctor took. You are not
Mm,
going to be able to, okay, be there to play a significant role in the life, of your children. Uh, I think that I have, even as a child, always been just naturally disciplined.
hmm,
I am a person who is naturally persistent, and I know how to persevere, because when you're bullied all that time and you're the only one who looks at you, there is perseverance in getting up and going to school every day and knowing that, oh, God, why did
mm,
you make me this color? Why do I have
mm,
to be this way? There's persistence in that, and then persistence, there is that discipline, because I didn't skip school.
mm,
I persevered all the way through. And when you have that kind of discipline and you carry it into post-secondary school and you carry it into an industry, the fashion industry, where you've got to be disciplined. You have to you have to perform. You've got to get the job done. You've got to meet the goal. Um, Everyone has the ability to be disciplined, but it's, do you call on your self discipline? Do you say no to that extra slice of pizza or cheesecake? Because you're talking about your weight gain. You had to discipline your mind. You had to know what your intentions are. I've always known what my intentions were. I
mm,
wanted to work in retail in the fashion industry from the time I was a child. I didn't know it. Um, when I taught, my intention was to give back to the industry, to give them back people who would be prepared day one. That's my intention. Now, my intention is to pursue this new vocation of mine, um, to see how far can I go with my new coach. He is making me more competitive
mm.
at the national level. Okay, because there's so many people out there who've been doing this for forever. Some of them are past Olympians and stuff, and they travel
Wow.
around the world and they do this. And he's making me more competitive. So I need to be disciplined at what I do so that I can achieve, so that I can do the very best that I can with what I have.
It fascinates me. What an angle that you take with discipline. One of the first adjectives you used was persevere.
Yes. You have to persevere and you have to be persistent.
Hmm.
You have to be diligent, dedicated, determined, and you need to have the drive and the desire. You had that, and that's
None of
why you
these.
lost the weight.
Hmm.
Maybe you weren't thinking about, well, I have this desire and I've got the drive, but it was in there because you met the goal. You knew what your intentions were. You knew what you were moving forward toward. You knew your purpose. You knew your destiny. And you knew what the consequences, you knew what to see. That the big thing with you is you knew what the consequences were
Hmm.
if you didn't make the change. And that was totally up to you. And you were determined to do it, right? You were determined because you lost that
Absolutely.
weight.
To this day, there are times where I feel there's a 340-pound person inside of me still trying to get out. So you
Yeah.
have to quell that. And I get pushback sometimes when I ask people about discipline. By the way, I don't claim to be the king of discipline. By the way, there's plenty of areas that I lack. I don't claim to be the king of it, but. People push back a lot of times. They say, well, you don't need discipline. You need compassion and you need love and you need empathy, to which I completely agree. There's no wrong answer here. And
Yeah.
might I add, perhaps there's just a little self discipline that's needed to maintain compassion and
Yes.
empathy.
Yes. Yes. Oh, well, uh, definitely. The pushback about having compassion for yourself to lose weight or having compassion that and empathy that if you don't get yourself right, then you're not going to be there for the people who need you. Is that where
Mm.
your pushback was coming from?
No, people say I focus too much sometimes on discipline. It should be more about compassion and more
Oh,
about
oh,
empathy.
oh, okay. Okay. Well, I know that in my case, I've had to learn about compassion and empathy because when you're a child who is picked on
Mm.
constantly like I was from kindergarten to the 12th grade. And there were black kids that picked on me too because they would call me an Oreo, black on the outside, white on the inside. Oh, you think you're white because of how I speak and my demeanor. And I would say to God, I can't catch a break.
Mm.
The black kids are saying that, oh, you think you're white, and the white kids are telling me, you're black, and we don't like you because of that. I could have become extremely bitter
Mm.
and cynical, and I think there were moments when I did lack compassion and empathy. I did go through that because of what I was going through. Like, how can I show empathy and compassion when when a teacher is looking at me and saying, those girls never said that.
Mm.
They wouldn't do that. It's like, yes, they did. And it's like, oh, fine. Okay, if that's how it's going to be, then I'm not going to care. I'm just going to do what I want to do. But I learned that no, that's not the way to go. But I had to face that. I remember a sales lady saying to me, "You are the most cynical young person I have ever met."
Hmm.
And that still sticks with me. And I had to think about that. And yes, I was cynical because of my background of being bullied all the time. Um, when you're bullied, you're always looking at people like, is this person going to say something too? You know what I mean? It's like, is this person getting what? Do they mean what they say? Because
Mm.
sometimes, you've seen the mean girl thing, like, oh, you're our friend now. Oh, come sit with us. And then the next 2 days, oh, okay, I've got friends. They want me to sit with them at lunch. And then you get to the point where that seat's taken. You can't sit there. Oh, you've got your lunch tray, and oh, and then I'm at the table by myself because I've been that kid at the lunch table by myself, and then you see that no, nobody is sitting with them, and then it's like they set me up, you know. You can feel bitter about that. You can
Mm,
feel cynical about that.
mm.
But I made the choice to get over it and to not be that way and to develop compassion for others and to develop empathy and to turn situations around so that I could feel the compassion and empathy. And I was able to impart that in the classroom toward my students. Yeah. Thank you for
It's
bringing
wonderful.
that up. Yeah, yeah, it was a journey.
Mm.
It was definitely a journey.
Madonna Hanna, what motivates you?
I am motivated by the fact that I am lucky to be alive.
Mm,
I am fortunate enough that I have been given so many opportunities, and each day I look forward to living my best life, helping other people to live their best lives. Because after reading Viktor Frankl's book, The Meaning of Life, he was a Holocaust survivor. One of his students said that the meaning of life is to help other people find the meaning of their life. And I also know that all the talents and skills that we have are not for us. They're for us to share with other
mm.
people to help them along the way. So each day that motivates me. What can I do
Mm.
to inspire people to find their purpose and their destiny in life? How can I help my millennial coach to become the kind of coach that he needs to be? What can I do to um, well, even before coming on this show, I was thinking there is somebody out there that needs to hear what I have to say so that they can be inspired, motivated, and maybe even they'll be empowered to say, yes, I can do this. And by doing this, I can help somebody else too. I can inspire someone
Mm.
else too. There's something that I can do that can inspire, motivate, and empower somebody else. So that's what motivates me, knowing that today I'm going to inspire, motivate, or empower somebody in some sort of way.
How absolutely wonderful. And how do you measure success?
Sometimes, well, you know what? Success comes in many ways. It's not like just one big thing. Um, it's
A spectrum?
Okay. Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, yesterday I'm coming out of Costco. I'm in the parking lot. I've got my cart. And I see this little Asian lady, and I don't know. I just look at her and I said, "Come on, girl, let's race." No, come on. And she looked at me, she smiled, and she said, "I would, but my back hurts." And I was hoping
Aw.
somebody would help me. And I said, "Well, I'll help you. I'll help you." I lifted the water, the thing of water. I don't
Okay.
know, 24 packets, because I lift weights now because, it's part of my workout. And I lifted it up and I put it in her trunk. And she tried to help me. I said, "Don't help me. I'm helping. I'm helping you because you have a bad back." And I just, lifted everything out of her cart
Wow.
and put it in her trunk. And to me, that was success because I connected with this woman. I don't even know. I don't know. It just came to me to say, let's race, and she smiled, but she let me know that she needed help. Girl,
How
I need
wonderful.
somebody to help me. My back hurts. And so that's success because I helped her with something that she needed assistance with.
Mm,
So that's successful because she was going to have to struggle. Like, I'm shopping by myself and I'm out here with this water. And so that's success, as well as me being able to make it into the national finals for the first time, and posting a new personal best time, even though I've had a ruptured Achilles, so there's success with that too, and even the success that my students have had in their careers. So there's all different increments of success, and I think sometimes people think they have to do something big, to be successful. Well, I haven't done anything major or big. Did you raise 5 or 6 kids and they're all out of the house and they have their own jobs? Okay, so maybe
mm.
4 out of 5 of them have their jobs. That's still a good record. Okay, just look at those look at those little things and stop looking at other people and saying, I want to do something big. I want to win the Super Bowl 9 times like Brady or whatever, like Tom Terrific. Like, that was for him, but you've done things too. You've done things. Yeah, big things, small things.
Your Costco story reminds me of I'm not sure if it's a fable or a story where there's a big storm and thousands of starfish get thrown up on the beach and they're getting dried out and the
Yeah.
young
Hmm.
person comes in and he's throwing one in at a time and an
Hmm.
elderly person says, "You're never going to get all these thousands of starfish in," and he picks one up and throws it in and said, "Well, I just made a difference with that one."
Yes, exactly, and that is success. That is
Yes.
that is success. It's it seems insignificant and small, but it has made a difference to that starfish. It made a difference to that little lady, because when she pulled out the park, pulled out of her space, she's looking back in the and she's waving at me and giving me a
Oh,
big smile. And now when she goes home or meets her friends or whatever, she's got a good Costco story to tell. This tall black lady came over and helped me. She asked me if I wanted to race, and then here she is lifting 24 bottles of water into my trunk. Yeah.
Madonna, your energy is contagious and it's bright and it's so welcoming and inspiring. Thank you so much for your time today. An absolute delight. I was so excited when you accepted this. I love learning about you and I love talking to you. I'm in the Northwest occasionally. Perhaps we can have a cup of coffee face to face. I
Sure.
think would be wonderful. How can
Sure.
we get in touch with you? Anybody who's listening?
Anybody who's listening can get in touch with me. My Instagram account is Madonna Fit, Fast, and Fabulous.
Woo!
And my email address is madfashion2001 at yahoo.com. Yes, keep following me on Instagram because I'm getting ready for the 2023 National Senior Games in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yes.
good luck. And www drop kick the drama.
Yes, that is my website, Dropkick the Drama. Yes.com. Yes. Thank you for
Very
reminding me of my own website. Oh,
we'll
you're
make
so helpful.
we'll make sure to put it all in the show notes. Madonna, thank you so much for your time and you be well.
Yes, you too. Stay fit, Joe. Stay fit.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information. The video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Disciplined Conversations.